Hello everyone and welcome to the Saturday tier for the Summer Season 4 Championship. Welcome to round 3. Welcome to Belgium Spa-Francorchamps. Let's get it together on track. Qualifying is currently underway. We've got a few minutes done already. Just under 10 minutes on the clock, I believe. As we do see the Ferrari of that would be Dave Raptors going slowly as they go into the pit lane. They're currently on their out lap, getting ready to go for their first lap of the session. So far, 41.9 is the top time, and then Jericho Willis with a 42.2. So a few tenths in it for the top two positions. Then it's Jack Lever, we've got Vega Flex, Harvey Specter, Eager Pro, and Zingy. The race winner from yesterday in the Racing Bull car, now driving the Mercedes, looking to try and do the same again if they can. Very different conditions though. Very different conditions. Should be dry. There's reports that there could be rain at the very end of the race. That's if there were going to be multiple safety cars. But other than that, I don't think we'll see any changes. It's just going to be straight up slick tyres. Fast running all the way to the end. Let's watch on board with the Scotsmen as they go up Eau Rouge, over to Radion, and then down the Camel straight. DRS open, and the Lacombe chicane is coming up next, using the battery as they go. Not able to use it as much as you used to in the last game where you boost your way around the lap with the battery. You can still use it quite a bit, just not so much. There's a bit of gravel there for Zingy, but it doesn't seem to throw them out too much on the exit, but it does cause them to have a bit of a loss of the front end as they come into the hairpin through No Name, missing out on the grass and getting it nice on the throttle all the way to the exit curb. And now Pouron, hoping to avoid any bug with the bump on the inside, down to 7th, keeping the foot flat to the floor. And then the Piff half chicane coming up next, braking just after the curb. A little bit too late there for Zingy as they actually rode the curb on entry, which could have shut them out a little bit wide. And then they come into, I believe, Paul Frere. And then they exit down onto the final back straight. And they'll go through Blochemont and into the bus stop chicane. They tried to go for an overtake around the outside yesterday. It was a tricky situation to be in, that's for sure. Bus stop chicane coming up. Very easy to get the car all loose over these curbs as you see the undulation throughout. DRS though, as they get the traction slowly down and across the line, it's going to be P3 for Zingy, currently just behind Jericho Willis. A little bit ahead, about a second ahead of Jack Lever so far at this point. We've got Jericho Willis followed by Eager Pro, who will be coming across the line. Jericho looking to try and get closer to the race winner a few races ago in Austria. There's Jericho Willis got in the line a 41.994. Brilliant improvement, not for Eager Pro, as they will go into the pit lane. Yeah, as I said, Dave Raptors, they took a win in Austria. They did miss Italy. They come back here for Belgium a few weeks later. And hopefully they can have a pretty good run. Alright, I do apologise for the delay. We'll be right back. Alrighty, we're back. We're good to go. Sorry for the delay. We've got Eager Pro just overtaking Vega Flex, who debuts for the Saturday tier now as they debuted for LSI in total yesterday. at their home Grand Prix. So welcome to the grid, Harvey Specter. Also for the Alpine team doing the same thing. Wasn't an easy race for them. I think damage on the opening lap, I believe it was. And yeah, a tricky one to deal with, but they are back on track with another shot at it. Hopefully they can have a good race. Not so many drives on the grid today as there were yesterday, but it doesn't mean we can't have a good race. As long as it's clean and competitive, it can always be entertaining. It's a bit of a shame because we do have 20 drivers signed up to race. It's just a little bit hot in the summer, I guess. A little bit difficult to get things together. But it will get better as we progress. Eager Pro is about to start their lap. Having some great racing moments yesterday, being quite high up the order in the initial stages, but in the opening lap they had an incident and it put them down the order, so they had to make a lot of progress once again. Can they get on top of the strategy today and have a little bit of a better opening lap to give themselves the chance for the top positions? Would they try and go for the podium this weekend as well on the Saturday tier? That would be a pretty impressive result. They had some brilliant pace and actually got P2 in Monza for one of the tiers. So a brilliant result from them there. Their last win came along at Austria. And that was, of course, last season in LSI F1. Now looking to improve, we'll go through the sectors and we'll see what they can do. They've already passed through into the second sector. They've invalidated, unfortunately, on the exit, and they're going to have to go again, so they'll save some batteries, save some tyres. I assume they won't go into the pit lane, but they might try and go into the pit lane and then give it another go in a few laps time. That's Vegaflex going again, but on an invalid lap with 2 lap old tyres. They're not going to go so quickly though. We've got Jack Lever going for a lap with a big tow from their teammate, well planned out for both of these guys. A bit of DRS for Dave Raptors, turning it off and on to make sure that Jack was able to get as close as possible and benefit as much as possible with that effect that you get when you're following closely behind another car, punching a hole through the air. As they go into no name, let's see if they can keep it within track limits, a little bit away from the apex, but still in track limits across the sector line for Jack. What's it going to be? Oh, sorry, no, not yet. I thought it was there for some reason. I'm not entirely sure. We'll go into the Piff Path chicane first and then leave it. That's when we'll get the sector line to see what Jack is currently doing. A 43.2, about a second away from Zingy right now, who's also on an outlap and looking to try and go quicker. That's 3/10 up, looking to defend their current position, but they wouldn't be able to get close to Zingy just yet unless they can find a lot in the final chicane here. Other than that, they'll be looking to try and help their teammate Dave Raptors hold that pole position. Can they get a pole position from a race victory in Austria? That would be a brilliant way to start the Belgian Grand Prix, where they tried to look at a podium yesterday. Across the line for Jack Lever is going to be almost 4/10 improvement, but it's now Dave Raptors who's right behind him and looking for a tow as well. This is being streamed on Twitch? Wait, what? Sorry, I just had to quickly pay attention to that. Anyway, we see Dave Raptors staying behind their teammate as they didn't get a tow. So they're looking to get it maybe at Blanchimont unless they catch their teammate and go for it anyway. They do move out the way, so no tow for Dave Raptors. And that is going to be frustrating for them. It's Eager Pro who doesn't get a lap in the end as they invalidate, and they'll start at the back of the pack with some Max on as well for company. We're going to have Vega Flex coming into the final chicane to see what they can do. They're on some old tyres. It's not going to be easy to improve, but can they stay ahead of their teammate here in qualifying? DRS across the line. What's it going to be for the French team driver? And the home hero goes a little bit slower, but they're still ahead for now. What can their teammate do? Can they try and take it away from them in the final moments? And they can. They can in the end. A brilliant improvement gets them ahead. And that is going to be a lovely battle there towards the end. It's going to be Dave Raptors to go across the line next, followed by Jericho Willis and then Zingy. Dave Raptors, pole position for now. Will they improve? They do so by 0.4 of a second, a 41.4. Is there any chance of Jericho or Zingy coming back to that? I don't know. It's going to be so tough. Jericho with a brand new wheel. It's not going to be enough, but a brilliant effort to give it a good shot. Zingy crosses the line. What's it going to be? I don't know if he got there. I don't think he did. He didn't in the end, not enough, but wow. Jericho Willis with a massive improvement. Almost getting it all together. It just wasn't enough. That was a big improvement there for Zingy as well, but that wasn't enough either. That's the race director. It's Dave Raptors on pole position, Jericho Willis in P2, and Zingy in P3. We'll see in a bit for the race. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one, the inside line for the pole sitter? Oh, Zingy with a brilliant start, putting their nose in. Is that going to work out? No! What's going on with the Alpine in the background as Harvey Specter goes down the order all over the place into the corner and on exit is going to be once again away from the pack after the first corner. I do not believe it how that's repeated already, but here we go. Jericho Willis pushing Zingy through, and Dave Raptors not only looking to lose one position but maybe two, as there is the American driver to the outside line, but they will not get there and they will have to stay behind. Sir Maxon driving in a McLaren for the Haas team, now having a look at Jericho. They're going to dive it, the old rivals side by side into the hairpin, and that's surely going to frustrate Jericho Willis, who's going to come back at him and try and stay ahead, but it's not going to work out. The outside line and opening up the steering wheel will have the advantage. Jericho gonna be a little bit disappointed with how that just went there, but it is what it is, and they've got many laps to try and make a comeback. Hard tyre for Jericho Willis, medium for Sir Maxon right now. We'll get the situation on your screen as we've got quite a few medium tyre runners, as we see the top three on the mediums, also Eager Pro, everybody else on the hards at this stage. So a pretty split grid regarding strategy right now. It was a very different race yesterday, so it's not like drivers can take the strategy across. That's a little bit of a difficult one, of course. But it is what it is. We've got Thingy leading the way on lap 2 with a brilliant opening lap. We've got Eager Pro on that medium tire just behind Flex, and they want to have a go at making a move on this grippier tyre, but DRS is going to be difficult. Oh, a big loss of traction there for the Alpine. There's a bit of contact. They're going to go side by side down the mini straight and up to Eau Rouge. What's going to happen here for them, but also what's going to happen realistically for the cars in front as they try and make it work. No, there's no end plates to the Eagle's car, so they're massively struggling with damage. I don't think it's going to work out for Eagle. Surely no grip into the front end. They do go ahead as they make a little bit of contact through, and there is Eager Pro in front. Having a very difficult race already. Luckily, they're on a medium tyre, so they're not on the harder tyre with damage. But it's still going to be a tough race to deal with that damage. Both end plates as well. Very frustrating. As we see Jack Lever currently on their own a little bit now on that hard tyre, being broken away from Jericho Willis, who's in the train of the top 4 for the victory. Oh, and Jack Lever somehow keeps that on track. Absolutely incredible car control. Just a little bit of a mistake as they put the throttle on a bit too early. A little bit of understeer, and that was almost game over, but very well done to keep that one in a straight line. It's Sir Maxon who has a look around the outside of Dave Raptors, and they still keep it side by side. Zingy blocks him, tries to box him in. It's 3 wide into the bus stop chicane. I do not believe it. Dave Raptors is going to come out ahead, and Zingy stays P2 now, but Sir Maxon is going to get jumped by Jericho Willis, who's on the outside line. Are they going to try and stick it the long way around? No, they back off and they let it be for now. They know that they have the tyre that will be quicker later on. Is it the more advantageous strategy? I don't know. I know a lot of drivers prefer the hard tyre over compared to the medium. Some drivers prefer the medium. It's really up to preference. Zingy retakes the position. Sir Maxon can't do anything about that. They do go defensive to the other McLaren, of course. That's unfortunately Vega Flex having an issue as they drop behind their teammate at this stage of the race. We've got Harvey Spector, who somehow kept a full front wing after their first corner. Eager Pro going to be frustrated with their situation, of course, losing out a lot right now, and 3.5 seconds away from Jack Lever, who's 2 seconds away almost from Jericho Willis, who had that heated battle just a second ago. They've got a lot of speed in that car, but they're effectively at the mercy of the cars ahead in a train. As long as you keep it cool in the corners, you've just got to wait to see what happens in front in the straights, and see if you can take some pickings. Make sure that you manage your ERS so you're ready to go for a move when an opportunity does arise. Oh, and still going for the move in Blanchimont if they can. It's going to be difficult, but they want to give it a shot, and they do so. The outside line is their choice, locking up the rears, and Dave Raptors is surely going to have the advantage there. There's contact as they try and make it through. Trying to cut back across was Dave Raptors, because he knew that that was a tight line for Sir Maxon. Sir Maxon tried to stay on the inside. I'm sure Dave Raptors is going to feel a little bit hard done by there as it's contact on the exit as they got very, very close to one another as well. It will be Dave Raptors just about staying ahead of the McLaren behind. They're not going to be happy with what's just happened, but they're going to try and get a slingshot run here. Would Jericho Willis try and have a go at Sir Maxon as well? Well, they're going very quickly. They're going to the outside line, and it's going to be side by side. Dave Raptors has no problem about it. They're going to look for DRS on Zingy if they can by getting that slingshot. Jericho Willis really wanted to try and give it a shot, but didn't do so in the end. Of course, Jericho Willis and Sir Maxon have some good blood between them in previous seasons, being good rivals. That move at the early stages there a couple of laps ago, maybe Jericho isn't so happy with it and wanted to have a look into the Lecombe chicane. But for now, they'll stay where they are. Jack Lever catches up a lot as these guys do fight up in front of him, but it's Zingy who is away from DRS and now currently on their own a little bit. It's not by much, and it can be easily gained back if Zingy makes a mistake, but if he doesn't make a mistake, it might not be quite so possible. Eagle getting the first time penalty of the event here today on Saturday, and it's going to be expected as they have basically no wing to drive the car with, so they're surely going to understeer off track here and there and get themselves some track limits. Zingy with a 45.704, and realizing that they can break away from DRS, decides to push even harder throughout that entire lap. And they have definitely made that statement. That's a yellow into the bus stop chicane as Spectre has an issue. But they're spinning the car around as they try and get it in a straight line once again. They eventually do so. And just keeping the car smooth on the throttle, they can make sure that they get those tyre temperatures under control and they can get back into this race. Zingy on their own as they try to extend further. So Maxon makes the move on Dave Raptors of DRS, and now they continue to see what they can find in the Grand Prix here. Five laps done, 22 in the entire race. Let's see how this goes. So Maxon catches up by a 10th over this lap so far, with a bit of a slingshot from DRS as well to help. They came back from a little bit of a further distance as well, but now in this later stage of the lap, they have really picked up that pace to close the gap to Zingy. They're also bringing Dave and Jericho with them, but Dave Raptors 9/10 away with Jericho behind. Jericho wants to try and have a look at a move. Surely they need the Ferrari to push harder, because currently the Ferrari's not going to be looking at DRS, and their race could be over if it in regards to the lead, and they'll be fighting for the podium positions instead. So this is a little bit of a crunch point here for Jericho Willis. They're going to be frustrated as that's Dave Raptors making a mistake now. 1.6 seconds it goes to, and DRS wasn't available, it looks like, to Sir Maxon, but it will possibly be available now after Eau Rouge and onto the Kemmel Straight. Surely Sir Maxon has it. Jericho Willis will be making a move in no time. We watch the rear wing of Sir Maxon though, as they do open up the flap, which is going to be straightforward, and Jericho Willis making that move very, very early on. Sir Maxon catching up to now 3/10. And the race for the victory is once again underway, but it's now only with 2 cars instead of 4. Jericho Willis did manage to make some ground back, but in the end, it's still lost on that DRS, and it's not going to take Sir Maxon and Zingy much to continue to push and break away. That being said, Jericho is pushing quite hard and doing a good job of catching up. Will they be able to maintain this level of pace throughout the rest of the lap, as it is a long lap here in Spa without much DRS until you get to, well, the start-finish straight, but it's very, very small, and then of course on the exit of turn 1 where you look for that detection point. And so far so good for the American driver, so far so bad for Dave Raptors, who's not able to keep up on this medium tyre, and you can really see that hard tyre kicking in now. Absolutely incredible stuff as we just see a sudden switch. I mean, I know it was last lap also probably the same realistically, but it's pretty dramatic, that's for sure. And you can see how the long lap does affect things tyre-wise. That's Dave Raptors not taking any chances and going into the pit lane immediately, and they might force the cars in front of them to react to that call. DRS just about available, I think, for Jericho Willis, who's sliding out the final corner to try and make everything they can count with that tyre. DRS available for Sir Maxon. Would they try and make the move here on Zingy at this stage of the race? Half a battery remaining in that car, but no position looking to be gained, but ERS being saved by both drivers here as Jericho Willis continues to catch up nicely. Dave Raptor 7 seconds behind Eager Pro. They don't have any problems around them at the moment. They're sat relaxing in P6. They've got 7 seconds ahead and they've got 12 seconds behind, so they just need to put the quick laps in to try and get back into this race. They started pretty high up there on pole position. They dropped down to P4 for where they pitted, and those tyres dropped off pretty hard. They've gone for a second set of medium tyres, so they've gone for the 2-stop. I can't remember what is the faster strategy, a 2-stop or a 1-stop. That is Harvey Specter retiring at the final chicane. I don't think we'll see a safety car. It's a voluntary retirement on track, so there won't be a safety car in the end. They just retire. Unfortunately, that is their race over. Lap 7, or actually lap 6 out of 22, as they didn't get to lap 7. It is a shame to see that, of course, on track as well. Not in the pit lane, but it is what it is, and luckily no one's affected by it. We can continue the race as usual. Jericho Willis could do something crazier. He could just spam the battery and put the pressure on the cars ahead. That would really mix things up for no reason. It would put them in a bit of a difficult position, but right now they use a little bit of battery here onto the straight, but those cars in front are so quick. So not really finding it so simple to actually put any pressure on. Of course, if the cars ahead have the DRS train going on, if P1 is on really low wings, then it is virtually impossible to do anything about it. You're effectively trying to catch a car that's 2 car lengths ahead relative to 1. Jericho Willis, with having DRS, is trying to catch up to Zingy, because Sir Maxon's also got that DRS and the speed is cancelled out. So that's why we say they're at the mercy of P2, or in the train at least, the second car in the train. You've got Dave Raptors catching up to Egapro now. Egapro with that damage, of course. Dave Raptors hoping that they don't get too much trouble from the Serbian. Making that second stop, of course, Dave Raptors looking for a severe undercut, and then likely to go on another set of tyres once again. The other cars extending lap after lap. And it is actually Sir Maxon going for the move already. They're trying to, at least side by side, as they fight into the braking zone. And now they're looking to get DRS on each other, but it's Sir Maxon who goes into the pit lane. Oh, and Zingy, for the second time here in Belgium, goes across the pit entry. I do not believe it. Jericho Willis has to try and figure out what was going on ahead. Very frustrating for them to deal with, as they saw some cars ahead trying to decide on what to do. Jericho Willis now unleashed into the lead of the Grand Prix. It's Dave Raptors who goes fastest, and it's Dave Raptors who will be the net race leader if you take away the pit stop runners. But of course they will be looking to do another pit stop. What is that gap that we've just seen from Dave Raptors, though? That's the question. 5 seconds it looks like right now. Zingy stays ahead of Sir Maxon as Sir Maxon went ahead into the pit lane. That is spectacular. I didn't expect that to happen. Sir Maxon's had some sort of issue on the pit lane entry there to lose all of that to the Scotsman. So Maxon wanted to go for the move. They went for the move on the outside line. They didn't have a direct path into the pit lane. Zingy was ready for them to dive into the pit lane, but they only wanted to pit if Sir Maxon pitted. So that's why they made that late call. But Sir Maxon really had to push hard to try and get ahead. Usually, you either don't go for the move, or you make the move on the right-hand side to get into the pit lane. But doing exactly what you shouldn't do, somehow getting away with it, it is what it is now. Dave Raptors, 11 seconds behind Jericho Willis, 4.8 seconds ahead of the cars behind. And they're going to try and maintain this gap for as long as they possibly can. They've got an F1 champion behind them, and they've got a 6-time F1 champion behind them as well. On fresh hard tyres, it's not going to be easy to keep that gap as big as possible, but as long as the cars behind don't gain DRS on him, I think that's a win situation. And they just need to try and stay out on these tyres until they go to the hard set, and then bring it to the end of the race, looking for that better pace towards the end as well. They pitted a fair few laps ago now 3-lap-old medium tyres, they got a pretty severe undercut, and they're looking to try and do that again. Just how long are they going to try and wait to have the advantage on the other cars around them regarding tyre life, but also how long are they looking to wait to see how it goes for how much time they've got to gain in the race. I've completely messed it up. I know what I want to say in my head, but yeah, I didn't say it quite right. So Maxon is close to the back of Zingy right now and looking very quick. Purple in that sector, just gone. And the Scotsman saving in the corners, but still going quickly, clearly. 3.9 seconds now. Nice and close. Dave Raptor's not actually gaining that much relative to Jericho Willis as much as I thought, at least. 9-lap-old hard tyres versus some fairly fresh mediums. That being said, the mediums do drop off pretty quickly, and you can see how quick those fresh hard tyres are already after that medium tyre has done a few laps. The longer lap scenario we've got here, of course, does mean that the tyres last less. There's a less race distance as well. And Dave Raptors wants to go for that 2-stop, so the hard tyre will be their final choice of tyre, and then they're going to look to try and have the pace advantage around the other cars that will be eventually ahead of them to then overtake them in the final stages of the race. So they really need to play this to perfection. They want a balance of having enough laps to catch up, but also being on fresher tyres and fresh enough tyres that actually have the advantage. Now, if Sir Maxon and Zingy use DRS to help each other gain to Dave Raptors has not really much of a chance to fight here. But I have a feeling that Zingy might try and stay ahead of Sir Maxon. I'm not entirely sure. Sir Maxon close behind, and they are pushing on the battery, but Zingy is as well, and they're not going to make it easy. Defending to the inside line, Sir Maxon still gets there in the end, but braking as late as possible and leaving minimal space. The Scotsman stays ahead, and they actually still gain a decent amount because they have to push so much on that battery. But in relative time, they've kind of cost them a little bit more than they would have gained effectively. They would have gained probably a tenth or two, but they've ended up gaining some, but not as much as they could have. That's a frustrating one there for Sir Maxon, but completely legitimate from Zingy. They want to make sure that they stay ahead for as long as they can and control the race. That's for a very good reason. That's actually them going off track. They might have just got a track limit for that one, so they have to be careful. But yeah, it's a very good reason for Zingy to try and hold on to that position. They don't want Sir Maxon to be comfortable in any way possible. They want to make sure that they have control of the pace and then use racecraft later on to try and get ahead. We know how quick the McLaren driver is. Competing for Haas, scoring points for Haas, racing in a Ferrari yesterday and racing in the McLaren today. Jericho Willis into the pit lane much later, getting a severe overcut relative to everybody else, of course, but they are going to go to the end of the Grand Prix on this medium tyre, which is going to be tough. Jack Lever not too far away from them right now. 3-lap-old medium tyres getting that undercut. Will Jericho be able to find the pace to catch up to the hard tyre runners? Well, in the opening laps, I believe that may be the case, but I'm not sure if that'll be the case after. Oh, Zingy's off the circuit as they go side by side, and now down into the hairpin. They're going to continue to battle it out and try and go once again ahead. Zingy braking as late as possible to push his rival all the way to the limit. Now the inside line for Sir Maxon, but braking late, as we saw Sir Maxon doing the opening laps of this Grand Prix. Will stay ahead. Poo up next. The inside line has been the advantageous one on occasion, but for now, Zingy stays ahead, and the battling is only good news for Dave Raptors, who now sees a 3.8 second gap build up. Incredible stuff for the Brit in P1. And now Dave Raptors is not really wanting to pit at this point. They're hoping that these guys fight a lot harder. Jericho Willis has just caught up massively for that battle as well. So brilliant stuff for a few cars, except from Sir Maxon and Zingy, who continue to fight it out pretty hard. And it's going to be the outside line here for Sir Maxon. They do go for the move ahead. And Zingy doesn't make it too hard in the end, staying behind and with a full battery ready to get ahead once again. But now that's 4.2 seconds away from Dave Raptors. As you see, Zingy slowing down does mean that Dave Raptors gains more time. Sure, he's got to go for another pit stop, and it's going to be so difficult to make it work in the end. But it's only making it more possible at this stage. I would say the safer strategy right now is for Dave Raptors. Oh, there's contact! I do not believe it! Sir Maxon's off and around into the gravel as they go once again side by side. I didn't think it would be quite so aggressive once again into the braking zones. I thought they would have got the move down on the straight. That's why I stayed with Dave Raptors. But no, it was once again a side-by-side battle, which we just missed. So I don't know what happened exactly, but we do know the result. Zingy, P2, Sir Maxon, P4, and 4 seconds away from their teammate, Jack Lever, in the distant background. And now this changes everything. Dave Raptors is now not only looking to try and compete for the podium and stay on the podium, they're definitely looking to try and get at least to the top of the podium, if not further. I don't know. I've messed my words up again. I do not believe it. I'm sorry about that. He's trying to get to at least the podium, if not a little bit higher, if not the victory, is what I'm trying to say. Currently P1, Zingy now with no one around him, looking to try and gain more lap time on a runner that he should be faster than at the moment. Jericho Willis making good progress, going fastest so far. So Maxwell will not be going fastest this lap, but they will look to try and go quickly towards the end of the race, I'm sure. Or at least this lap now that they are starting. Eager Pro with a new front wing back in this race, but of course it's a little bit too late. Very frustrating opening laps, not only yesterday but today as well. It's annoying to see. It is annoying to see. They've had some pretty good races in the past around here. 2 weeks break. Come back to Belgium, not having the best of times. And then we've got another 2 weeks break, so they have to wait all that time to get to Zandvoort. Typical. It's the way it goes in racing sometimes, and I'm sorry to see it, but still looking at points here, and in the mix somewhat. They're not too far away. If anything drastic was to happen in front, they would be there to take something from it. Flex giving it their best shot here on debut once again, the home Grand Prix. Working out for them quite nicely, and it's great to see. In the meantime, Jericho Willis, 1.5 seconds away from Zingy and gaining massively in this race so far. I don't think Zingy is really going to have any patience of allowing Jericho to use their tyres. I mean, they might do. As Dave Raptors dives into the pit lane, they might try and see Jericho Willis through to see if Jericho can gain any lap time. But they know that that medium tyre is only going to get slower at a certain point. So it probably won't be the case. Jack Lever into the pit lane following their teammate. They're going to get a slight or no delay actually at all going into the pit lane onto a fresh set of medium tyres. And it's Dave Raptors onto that hard tyre, fresh hard tyres. Eager Pro is now promoted, looking to go to the end of the Grand Prix as well. So they might be able to stay ahead of Jack Lever, but Jack is going to be going very quickly on that fresh medium tyre. So is Dave Raptors, who now has a 6-lap advantage relative to the other hard tyre runners around them. 7.7 seconds to Sir Maxon. To the race leader, they currently have 14.7 seconds. To gain that in, well, kind of 7.5 laps more or less, it's going to be tough. All eyes on Dave Raptors, 7.1 seconds to the car ahead. They've got to get these tyres warmed up and ready to go for the rest of this Grand Prix. And then qualifying pace to the end is their quest. So Maxon, 5.5 seconds away from Jericho Willis, who's put some good pressure on the Scotsman up in front, but the pace has started to equalise. And I don't think that medium tyre is going to be very quick for very long. 1.4 seconds now the gap. And the tyres are starting to die off. A brilliant effort for Jericho, but now they've got to really point their focus onto Samaxon. They've still got a 5-second advantage, but those tyres are going to get old. Eager Pro getting a time penalty at this stage of the race, not ideal. That's the way it's gone for now. Jericho Willis, by the way, doing the alternate tyre strategy, but still looking for the one stop. And they've got themselves back into P2 for now. Thingy has definitely shown that the tyre switchover has occurred. So Matson is the one who we assume will be capitalising on that. We're also looking to see whether Jacques Lever can catch up and make some progress on Eager Pro and fight for the 10-point position, but it's Dave Raptors who's looking to try and go for that podium. No time penalties for any cars around them right now. Dave Raptors still making good progress. Jericho Willis actually has made some good progress, so maybe they just had a few moments where they lost a bit of pace and Zingy wasn't actually showing the switchover point, because Jericho's brought it back together immediately. That's now 12 seconds, about 2 seconds advantage that Dave Raptors has gained on Zingy. And now Zingy's got some company. If they can hold on to the battery, that is, Jericho Willis might have an opportunity. They don't push on the battery here, but is that a little bit too late? They didn't look for it as they got to the further down the straight. And now it's all a little bit too late to look for DRS once again. So are they looking to save their tyres more than getting DRS? I'm not entirely sure. They're maintaining the pace over Samaxon right now. And they're fluctuating with Zingy, who's in the lead. And that is the fastest lap for the Brit. It's Jacques Lever, who is looking to try and take that away maybe on the medium tyre, but a big snap as these tyres are grippy but fast and they can be pretty oversteery. Half a second improvement on their best, but it's Dave Raptors who still holds that fastest lap by a little bit of a margin as well, 4 tenths or so over Jacques Lever. And Dave Raptors now 5.6 seconds continuing to chip away. And their tyres are going to be good to go to the end. The other cars as well will be good to go to the end, but they're really going to get very slow very quickly. And that's what we're looking for. Jericho Willis once again nice and close to the back of the car, but not close enough really to be comfortable. Now that's more like it for Jericho Willis. 5-lap-old medium tyres, not getting any easier, but they've really dug deep to get this one working. And now 6 tenths behind as they go into La Source. And they'll finally get DRS down the main straight. Would they be in a position to attack? I don't know. Zingy's going to be ready for it either way, whether that's with the deployment or the moves. I don't know. The Scotsman's ahead for now, 4 tenths. Will we see 3? No. Zingy breaking away on the battery with very low wings as we saw them run yesterday. And why would they change their strategy? They ran 0-0 wings in intermediate conditions. And I very much assume they're doing the same thing today. I don't know if they are, but I assume they are. That's Jacques Lever. Ah, what a shame. As they're in the pursuit of Eager Pro and unfortunately spinning round. That's probably going to be their race done. They really shouldn't have done that. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. Unfortunate that. And Ferrari will score less points to their tally, but Dave Raptor's still the one in the hunt for the podium at the moment. Jericho Willis holding on nicely as Zingy makes a little bit of a mistake there, putting the pressure on. So maximum 4.9 seconds as these guys maybe are going to have a bit of a squabble. That will help them catch up, but it's 3.3 seconds to the Polish driver. They're trying to catch up. You can see the McLaren in the very far distance, just a little bit. They'll see them into the chicane as they go through. But it's tantalisingly close for Dave Raptors. We've got to keep it careful on that turning, because that's what we saw Jack Lever have an issue a couple of laps ago with their teammate. And they continue to seem to have some sort of an issue there. Zingy leads the way, 7/10 advantage. It looked like it was not so good for Zingy about half a lap ago. Jericho Willis was so close, but I think Zingy probably ended up using so much battery down the straight to make sure Jericho didn't have a go that they had to save the battery throughout the rest of the lap. That's why we saw Jericho catch up throughout the middle part of the lap, where Zingy knew that they couldn't really make a move easily. Currently, Jericho is managing this very, very well on this old tyre and really looking to hold on to DRS for as long as they can. Would the tyres hold up to the ends to go for a fight for the victory on the battery? I don't quite know. With what we saw just a lap or so ago, it looks like it's very difficult to compete with. Oh, the Scotsman in a straight line. That was a big snap of oversteer as Jericho rides the curb on entry a little bit too much. Fine margins here in LSI, and you can go over them very easily. But 4.8 seconds, the gap hasn't really changed between these guys and Sir Maxon. And that's only looking good for Jericho Willis, who gains massively on the straight here as Zingy turns their battery off. Saving once again into the braking zone, or closer to the braking zone at least, is the American. And then they will be in DRS range to continue their pace. Management situation at the moment. But it's Dave Raptors and Sir Maxon who are going to be getting very close together very shortly. I don't think they'll be able to catch up to the cars in front, but they're going to be fighting for the podium. Two former F1.5 drivers, two F1.5 champions, one LSI F1 champion, two LSI F1 winners, race winners, who will get that to that final spot. Well, the tyres are definitely going to be towards Dave Raptor's advantage. So Maxon, the tyre whisperer, will they be able to hold on there? That's the question. It's Jericho who's half a second away on lap 20 out of 22, and this race has been a bit of a slow burner, but it's ready to go, ready to give us a brilliant final stage as we see two battles now coming together. We've got Zingy and Jericho Willis versus Sir Maxon and Dave Raptors. How's it going to go? Who's going to come out on top? Who's going to have the better tyres? We've got an old hard versus an old medium, and then a fresh, fairly fresh hard versus an old hard. Everything to look at, and I don't know which one to look at. We stay with this battle for now. I don't think Jericho Willis would go for the move at this stage. Neither do I think Dave Raptors would, but if they spot an opportunity, you never know. Dave Raptors might try and give it a go at their first chance. Lap 21 out of 22 has begun. And these guys are going to really have to think about the final laps at this stage. Jericho Willis trying to think of the end game of the race and what they're going to do to try and get ahead of Zingy, if not get as close as they can. trying to keep those tyres on track, but look at how dead they are. Look at the graining on that tyre. Absolutely brutal. The front right is all over the place, the front left as well. Doesn't look easy. Doesn't look easy for Zingy either. These tyres are pretty old now. But it's Sir Maxon and Dave Raptors who do switch. But in the aftermath of the Lecombe chicane, so that was a bit of a battle that we just missed, unfortunately, so I really do apologise for that one. Looking at Dave Raptors' tyres though, fairly smooth on the front end, a little bit of grain and kicking in right now, but not a massive amount, and that just shows how good they are. And actually, they're 3.4 seconds away, catching up massively. This is interesting stuff. 3.3 seconds, Dave Raptors in hot pursuit. But here it is, what we've been waiting for, the final lap of the Grand Prix. Jericho Willis in striking distance. Tyres up to a 0. Oh, I don't believe it. He tried to move into the final corner. That was never going to work. I do not believe it. DRS may be no more for Jericho Willis in the final opportunity at giving it a shot on DRS. I do not believe what I've just seen. And Zingy, 1.2 seconds ahead, is going to break away. And it's almost impossible for Jericho to do anything. Dave Raptors now has to focus. They don't gain much on the straights, but they'll gain massively in the corners. And they've got half a lap to try and make it P2 here in Belgium. Can they get an extra piece of the cake? As they were hoping for the podium yesterday, they've got that back now, but they're 1.8 seconds away from making it that P2 spot and being in a brilliant position from where they were just a few laps ago, trying to make the two-stop strategy work. It wasn't going to be easy. They're pushing the limits to track limits as well. And they're going to have to make progress. They're going to have to make moves. It's Zingy who's dropping back as Jericho Willis is catching up. It's Dave Raptors who's hoping that a braking zone will be enough, but they slide out the corner in the background. I don't think it's going to work out. 9/10 away. A brilliant performance from Dave Raptors would not be enough to get there in the end. Zingy has held on for a long, long time. It was not an easy race, but they get there at the final corner. Zingy wins the Saturday tier Belgian Grand Prix, the second Belgian Grand Prix this weekend. Brilliant stuff. Jericho Willis P2, Dave Raptors P3, and it's Sir Maxon in P4 in the end. Eager Pro, frustrated, but still scoring brilliant points to stay in this race. 10 points to their team. Is Vegaflex getting another points paying position. The home Grand Prix staying in it once again. A long race, a very long race here in Belgium. It's tough, but it's doable. The 8 points are going to be very, very nice to take home for the team, of course. A good effort as well. This is not an easy circuit for tyres, so they played it well. That was a crazy race. I didn't know where to look for a few moments of it. But we see the podium now. Scotsman on top once again. Jericho Willis. P2, fighting with everything. Going for the move into the bus stop chicane. Was it the right call? Did they just not believe they could do anything on the Kemmel Straight maybe? And that's why they went for the opportunity. They tried to give it a last look before they got to the straight where that Mercedes was very quick in the straight line. I don't know. But Dave Raptors was definitely putting the pressure on, and I'm sure Jericho was watching the gap behind close up. And they didn't want to lose out. They wanted to try and get ahead of at least another car and stay P2 if they were to be overtaken by Dave. It didn't happen in the end. They stay P2 anyway. We'll get the results on the screen as that's the podium. It is most overtakes for Sir Maxon and driver of the day for them as well. It is Zingy taking victory in Belgium. It's Jericho Willis in P2. Dave Raptors for P3 on the podium with the fastest lap as well. Sir Maxon, Eager Pro, Vega Flex, and it's Jack Lever DNF, I think, with Harvey Specter earlier on in the Grand Prix as well. The results and the race director on the screen now, just in case, as we always need to check it out. And we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Belgian Grand Prix. That was a pretty crazy one. Indeed, the strategy all over the place, really difficult to read. Hey Raptors, you gave it your best shot, absolutely sending it in the final lap there to try and give it a little bit more. You got the podium that you were looking for yesterday. Are you happy with the race result, or are you hoping for that top spot, really?
I mean, considering what happened at qualifying, I probably would have been, and it was dry today, so I was kind of hoping to at least get P2, even if it wasn't P1. Qualifying was brilliant. P1, obviously, that was going well. Race start was a little bit tricky as the tyres died off, but I think the main thing for me today, and it has been in a couple of races I've done, is just the tyre wear is very high for me, especially on the rears. So I think I'm just going to have to kind of retrain myself in terms of my driving style, because I feel like maybe I'm just using the rears up too much, possibly on exits, or locking up the rears into some corners, or whatever it is really taking the tyres, really taking the life out of the tyres, which is causing me to lose quite a bit of time, especially towards the end of my stint. So yeah, I mean, the race went decently, but we'll see. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, P3 is still a decent result, so hopefully better in the next race anyway, if I can sort out these tyre wear issues.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got a P1 so far this season, you've got a P3, you just need a P2 now. Well, of course, I'm sure you're hoping for a couple more P1s, but did you learn about the tyres? You know how to fix them for the next race?
Currently, not so. I did a race earlier today, and I kind of tried to do some things in today's race, but nothing worked, because I lost out from a race win today earlier due to the same reason.
Right.
Doing a two-stop, so I just need to I need to just watch whatever YouTube videos or something to see if other people are having similar issues, and just kind of get my driving style into a way now, or where I kind of managing my ERS possibly better on exits maybe, and that might benefit my tyres, because I think around most tracks, I think on this game is going to be one stops, and it's going to be high tyre wear. So if I'm going to be competitive over the course of the season, I'm going to really have to sort that out. But at the end of the day, it's the summer season, so this is the time to kind of get these little issues out the way, so then when we come to the proper season, I can be within a shout of the championship, hopefully.
For sure. And Zandvoort, a very crucial one for tyres. We've seen people do two stops in a game, like last game and the game before, where one stops were really the more beneficial one, and still perform really well. Do you think you can do well there? I know you said yesterday.
Yeah, I do think that the two stops around there will be viable. I think it depends on the strategy in terms of where you are on track, and if you're DRS training, or if someone does two stop with you, because I think that really does help if you're able to kind of trade DRS with someone. But I think because it's a short pit lane and there's a lot of corners and high speed, low speed, whatever it is, I think that two stop is going to definitely be doable next week. So hopefully, even if I've not cracked down fully on my tyre wear issues, and I still have a shot if I do go for that two-stop strategy again.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Really good effort today. Congratulations on the podium, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Thank you very much,
also,
guys.
Congratulations on the pole as well.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you very much, Dave. All right, we move on to Jericho Willis. Jericho, that was also a brilliant effort to make it work, but it just wasn't quite P1 in the end. But are you happy with a P2?
You know, you always want a little bit more, and you're always evaluating what was possible. So, today I think the win was possible, but, with a good qualifying, I was right there. I had a chance at pole. That was exciting for sure. And then the start, Zingy's start was unbelievable. An incredible launch there. And so kind of had to be cautious of him, if it was going to go three wide into turn one. So I was a little bit cautious. And then, of course, Samaxton coming through. I was trying to figure out who was in the other McLaren, because Samaxton joined qualifying late. So I didn't see him right away, and I wasn't really paying attention to what car he was in. I didn't think he was in the McLaren. So when I saw the McLaren coming through, I was like, who's in that car? And so I didn't know. And then he sent one down the inside of me there. He was trying hard to get to the front, and I didn't want to fight that too hard. But yeah, it was a good battle. Most of the job was keeping the tires alive, like Dave was saying, and was able to do that. Was happy with the strategy coming back on the front runners after the pit stop. Had really good pace, and then Zingy, I think, was running 0-0 wings. He was crazy fast in the straight line. Really hard to close in on him. Had a lot of pace in the corners on him with a little bit more downforce, but with the dirty air in the game, it's just really hard to stay close. And I think my best chance might have been on the last lap, but on the penultimate lap going through the final chicane there, he kind of parked it and caught me out a little bit, and I nearly took us both out. And then from there, I lost too much time. I had to regather my thoughts and just keep it together for the last lap to not lose out to Dave. But yeah, definitely happy with the result, but leaves you wanting just a little bit more. Waiting for my first win against a list of drivers that I know are so fast. All these guys who are well within the top 1% in the world. You get a chance to race those guys and can be competitive. You got to be happy with that.
That's for sure, yeah. And it will come eventually, maybe in Zandvoort. That circuit, very, very, very different. Do you like it? Do you think a higher downforce circuit suits you more?
I don't know. I've been pretty good on my tires, but when you're right on the limit of grip, there's a lot of pace that guys like Dave Simex and Zingy, all these guys, they have a lot of pace on those high downforce circuits, and I can probably keep the tires alive, but can I keep with their pace? I don't know. We'll give it a good try, see if I can get up to speed and be pretty close. But it'll be a tough one, but I like that track, so looking forward to it.
Awesome. Keep doing what you're doing and you'll be absolutely fine. Thank you very much, Jericho. Congratulations on the podium.
Thank you.
We move on to Simaxon. Simaxon, that was a tough one. Not what you wanted, I'm sure, in the end. But yeah, from the back all the way to the front, then down a little bit more. Missed out on the podium. Still points at least. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just going to let you explain the race.
Yeah, I don't know if I will race basically 2 minutes into quali. So then, of course, journeying, starting from the back. And I don't know, I wasn't really expecting much from this race. I just wanted to have some fun, have some battles. Quite an interesting incident happened on lap 1, making me gain, I think it was 3-4 positions.
Yep.
And then, just because of driving the McLaren, I think I turned into Heich, making those mistakes, getting warnings. It was quite a bad race for me. Just wanted to make some moves, have some fun with the game, and ended how it ended. I had to really save the tires at the end, didn't get a puncture. Yeah, P4 is P4.
Yeah. It's not what you wanted. I didn't quite get to see what happened into the chicane, so I have no idea really what went on. But I guess you kind of wanted... Sorry?
I just overshoot the corner. I was just slightly behind Zingy on the inside, and just overshoot the braking, tried to not hit him, went into the inside gravel and understeered into him.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but you just forget about those things and hopefully move on. A high downforce circuit is coming up next. Is that going to be something that suits you more?
I don't really know. I've noticed for like the last half a month, I'm not really improving while other drivers are. So the gap that I had in pace at the start, like after the first 2 weeks of the game, now it's getting pretty close, and I don't really know what to do to improve. So it'll be interesting depending on how many drivers and what drivers will be joining there.
Yeah. Well, keep pushing. I'm sure you'll be right. It will click. the more you put into it, the more will come out. So thank you very much to Maxon. Really good effort today. Sorry it didn't go quite the way you wanted it to, but we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And Vegaflex, once again, staying in the race, getting some good points. Are you happy with that one? It was a bit of a battle at the start as well.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. Yeah, my goal was to stay in the race because I saw like the 5 lap I cannot get the pace that all drivers do. So I just wanted to get the race out and get my points. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
What happened in the first corner? I think your teammate ended up colliding with a few cars. Did you stay away from like trouble with that? Did you not get any damage?
No, I didn't get damage. He was off track when I'm passing, so I was lucky.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Well, Zandvoort, the turn one's a little bit quicker there, so hopefully you don't have to avoid any cars. Do you like that circuit? Is it going to be better for you pace-wise? The track limits are not that easy to go over, so it's quite an unforgiving track, but do you think you still have confidence there?
Yeah, I have confidence. I will practice more, and I hope it's good, better in the future. And my paces will be better for getting closer to the other drivers.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. I can't wait, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Great effort.
Thank you.
And we move on to Zingy. Zingy, another win. Lovely stuff. It was a hard-fought battle in the end, but you got there. Can you take us throughout your entire race and also what the tyres were doing throughout the entirety of it as well?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, qualifying, I thought I set a decent lap. It felt very hooked up. Maybe I could improve 2-3 tenths, but the fact that only got me third was very disappointing. But I knew my starts, I know I'm very good at those, so I thought maybe I could try and get back into P1, which I did after the Camel straightened into the calm. From there, just try to manage it. Some accident caught up, inevitably. We had a good battle for the first part of the lap, and then going on to the next lap, he made a assignments mistake and just hit into me. I couldn't do anything else, and we both know it's his fault, so there's nothing to worry about there. And yeah, with that little exception, it was pretty smooth sailing. I didn't realise though that Jericho was in my race. I thought he'd done double medium, and it was just like really quick on old mediums, and I thought he had to pit again, but he was still in the race, so it was a little bit of a surprise when I was battling with him on the last few laps, but he made that mistake, and ultimately that's how I won, just keeping it clean.
You think if he didn't have that issue, then he would have been in a good position to attack you on the Kimmel Straight?
Yeah, but as he said, from what he suggested anyway, that he had higher wings than me. And we all know how much you save with CVRS with higher batteries, so with higher wings compared to lower wings, sorry. So I was able to just save very much. He wasn't gaining on the straights, even if he was using more than me. And I don't think he would have had a chance. Don't get me wrong, but he's on old mediums compared to old hards, so I think I would have been able to keep it around the outside, or just kind of keep my nose in and probably win. And if not, I would have probably got him in the back straight, so there was always that comfort as well.
Well played. It was a brilliant race to watch. High downforce, I've said it before to everybody else, but what I will say is high downforce kind of means that, well, of course, every other car is a similar situation, but it does mean that you can send the car a lot harder into braking zones and stuff like that. How do you think Zandvoort will be for you, and raceability wise, although it's narrower and the track limits aren't so forgiving if you go off, it's usually quite good for a few dive bombs, right?
Don't tell me.
As long as they're not dangerous, I'm sure they'll be fine. Thank you very much, Zingy. Really good effort today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for the Dutch Grand Prix, maybe for a few lobbies in the meantime. I'm not entirely sure what the schedule will be. Other than that, we'll see you then. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching as well.